Hi, it's Sarah from Midnight Butterfly Designs. Today we're going to be making a Blue Morpho cane. I've printed out these two reference pictures. I suggest you do this for all the butterflies that you attempt to do. This is just so that we can get a good layout of where the veins are going to go and how the colours are going to work. You can see the top one is very different from the bottom one around the edges. The top one is a male, I believe, and the bottom one is a female. We're going to be focusing on the male design, which is predominantly this lovely blue blend from dark blue to light blue. The wing edges are slightly less complicated than the female design. Onto the colours then. As always, I'm using Sculpey Premo for this. We're going to be using a black, a navy blue, a turquoise and a white for the blend, and we're going to be using a green, yellow and orange for the speckles. You'll also need a ball tool, some sort of cutting tool and a pasta machine or a roller. I'll be using a pasta machine, but a roller is perfectly fine as long as you're making sure that everything is rolled out evenly. I've already rolled out my white because it stops it getting too contaminated with colours. Let's start the tutorial. I've rolled out the three colours that I'll be using for the blend. That is the turquoise, the navy blue and the white. I decided to omit the black because I thought the contrast would be too much, as we're already using quite a dark blue, and obviously the white will lighten up the turquoise. So I start the skinner bend by cutting out the turquoise. I want quite a deep groove on both sides really, so I get a nice blend between the white and the turquoise and also the navy blue and the turquoise. I'm going to double these up again like I did in my previous video, so you're going to want to cut two out from each colour and stack them on top. Once I've doubled up all the colours and cut them into a rough rectangle so that they all fit together nicely, I'm going to squidge them together so that they don't go through the pasta machine and separate. If you need any more information on skinner blends, there are some brilliant YouTube videos out there for you. Just do a quick Google search and I'm sure you'll find them. But I just wanted to demonstrate on this where the colour blends are going to occur. So the first one is going to be the turquoise and the white, and the second one is going to be the turquoise and the navy blue. When these fold together, that's where the blend is going to occur. Obviously, if you use a deeper angle on either side, you're going to get a completely different blend. So I've run this through the pasta machine a few times now, and as you can see the blend is looking really nice. I'm going to run it through a few more times just to get that lovely soft blend between the colours that will really make this particular butterfly look stunning. Once you're happy with the blend, you want to make it into a tape, so you want to fold the length in half and then pop it through the pasta machine, first on a thick setting and then slowly graduating to a thinner setting. I cut this in half once it's been through the pasta machine once because the tape's going to get really long because there's a lot of clay there and you want to really use it in manageable chunks. Once you've got your tapes, you can cut them into a stack. So here I just trim the edges and then I cut the tapes into 3 centimeter intervals. They should be roughly the same width all the way down, so I don't really bother tidying up the sides. So I'll cut those and stack them from light to dark, then do the same with the top and add it to the stack. You should end up with something like this, with the gradient from dark to light or light to dark, depending on which way you want to say it. This is going to be used for 2 wings, so you're going to just want to tidy it up and then cut it in 2. We're going to construct both of the wings together, so I've shaped the top wing and I've just shaved a little bit of the brightness off the edge of that wing as I think it will be too overpowering. I shape it so that it looks like the blue section of the wing in the picture as much as possible, and it sort of is a sort of teardrop shape. So the bottom wing is similar, it's a little bit wider, less teardroppy and more sort of rounded around the bright edge. Make sure that you shape these with the darker bit being toward where the body will go and the lighter bit going toward the outer wing. When you're happy with the shape of the wing, go ahead and draw the veins on the top wing and the bottom wing using your reference. Also, run the navy blue through the pasta machine. I used a 3 setting on mine. It is relatively thin. I wanted this butterfly to really be quite delicate rather than something chunky like the monarch. Once you're happy with where the veins are on the wing, you're going to chop the sections up. Be very careful because the lines on this are obviously going to be curved and it's going to be quite difficult to keep that curve when you're cutting them out, but you can always round off the edges once you have cut up the cane, and then go ahead and add the veins. It's worth noting that I always keep the butterfly wing in the order that I've chopped everything off, because sometimes they can be really complicated and you'll lose where you are. So I'm going to start with the middle piece of the wing and I'm going to cover that all around with a thin sheet of navy blue clay. We're then going to rebuild the wing piece by piece, inserting a piece of thin navy blue clay where there's going to be a vein. Be careful about doubling up the clay because that will obviously give a thicker result in the final picture. Once both wings have been completed in the same manner, make sure that they're kind of neat and we'll move on to the next stage. Next we're going to make the speckles. We're going to make the jelly rolls from the muted green, the yellow and the burnt orange. We're going to do this by rolling out each of the 3 clays and then wrapping them with some black on a relatively thin setting and then just reducing the cane so that they're of a usable size. So I'm going to start with the green jelly roll, which is used for the top part of the wing. I'm going to cut it in half in case I need a bigger piece later. Then I'm going to roll it out. I'm going to cut 8 pieces from this cane. I'm going to measure them against the main wing to make sure that they are small enough to give the wing some detail but not too big to look out of place on the wing, and then I can adjust them as necessary. Once I'm happy with all the pieces of the cane, I'm just going to arrange them around the wing. This just gives me an idea of the placement to make sure that the wing is as realistic looking as possible. And next I rolled out some black clay on a thin setting on the pasta machine. It's on setting 3. I'm going to wrap the top wing in this, but I'm going to not do the bottom part of the top wing with a black edge. You'll notice on a real Blue Morpho that bottom edge of the wing is actually just blue rather than black, so that's why the whole thing has not been wrapped in black. Next I'm going to add the little speckles to where I want them on the wing. I was using a reference at this point. You'll notice that the speckles are not round on a Blue Morpho wing, they're sort of squished in places, so I wasn't afraid to push down quite a bit on the jelly roll canes that surround the wing just to give them a different shape. Once you've placed all the speckles, I used a relatively thick knitting needle to just define the area between them and really push in where the veins meet the edge of the wing. It gives the sections a nice rounded edge. Once you've defined the gaps between the speckles, you can then fill those gaps with black. So I would roll out some black clay into a sausage shape and then fill the gaps in between. It's quite a simple method, it's quite easy to use, and it will also pack a cane really tightly so that there is less distortion when you reduce it. Now that we're happy with the placement of the speckles and we've packed the area in between the speckles, we want to add some layers of black clay around the edge. This defines the area around the edge of the wing. If you check a reference picture of a Morpho, it does have quite a deep black area, and we want to make sure the shape of the wing is as accurate as possible. Once we're happy with the shape of that, we just need to put a layer of navy blue clay on the bottom part of the wing there. I've put that up through the pasta machine on a 3 again, and I'm just going to cut it to size and stick it to the wing. Then that's pretty much the top wing finished. Moving on to the bottom wing then, we are going to cover the wing with a thin layer of black clay. We're not going to do it all the way around, it's literally just the curved area of the wing, as the other parts are going to have dark blue added to it later. We're going to use the knitting needle again to push in the areas where the vein meets the black clay to really give those sections a nice curved edge. Then using small pieces of black, we're going to fill those bits that we just pushed in. I'm just adding another layer of black around the edge of the bottom wing. This was run through the pasta machine on a 3 setting, and it's just going to create a bigger area of black between the blue part of the wing and the new colour speckles that we're going to add in a minute. Next we take the orange jelly roll and we roll it out so that we can get some thin cuts from it. You want to cut about 6 or 7 of these. Squish them down so that they're not so cylindrical and space them around the bottom wing. Then you need to pack them with some black clay using the technique we used earlier. You can roll out a black sausage and really pack the space between the orange speckles tightly. So next you want to add some extra black on the outer wing. You want to add the black over the black you've packed the orange speckles in with. So the orange speckles won't have any black on the top of them, but the bits in between will. Hopefully what you're seeing will help you understand what I said. Then we're going to be working on the yellow cane, and again we want to roll that out to a relative thinness. Actually these need to be really tiny, because what you're going to need to do is fit 2 of those in each of the gaps between the black clay. So there's going to be 2 per orange speckle that you've put on the wing. So the way that I did this wasn't particularly elegant. I cut out the pieces and then tried to make them much smaller, as I realised when I cut them that they were still too big. I would put in the yellow underneath the orange, then I would put in the second piece next to it and make an indentation between them using the knitting needle, then packing that area with black. There needs to be a gap between the 2 yellow cylinders of clay. The dots, if you look on a Blue Morpho cane, are sort of spaced that way, so trying to get it as accurate as possible is a little bit time consuming and extremely fiddly, but the results pay off at the end. So please take your time with this part. So apologies for my messy table, but I'm just using scraps of black to fill the gaps where I need to. The final bit is to roll out a really thin piece of blue clay and then cover the wing that hasn't been covered in black with that blue clay. Gives the wing a really nice finish. And that is your finished cane. Give the cane a little bit of a shape before reducing. Remember to rest it for at least half an hour. Thank you for watching. Drop me a like and a comment, and I'll see you next time. Happy claying!